Hey everyone, Paul Johnson, Waconia, Minnesota, and the Laughing Trout Fly Tying Club. Today I'm going to be tying my Chubby Chernobyl. So kind of a grasshopper imitation, great fly, especially when fishing a dry dropper type of rig. Give you a breakdown. So this is going to be tied on a size 8 hopper hook. I'll also tie it down to a size 12. It's got a tail of some copper crystal flash. The abdomen is UV dubbing in tan. The wings are Montana Fly Company Widow's Web in caddis tan. And the legs are barred and speckled crazy legs in olive. And then, of course, a 2mm piece of foam for the body. So let's get started. That size 8 hook in the vise. For thread, I'm going to be using 6/0 uni in tan. Just get that started. I'm going to lay a thread base back to the bend of the hook. And I've got 5 strands of crystal flash. Just get those tied in here. And again, just take a little care. You don't want that to wrap around the side of the hook with your thread wraps. Okay, and we're going to trim that off. A hook gap in length, maybe a little bit longer. Now, we're going to add just a little bit of dubbing here to start. And if you use this UV ice dub, it's not the easiest stuff to work with. So you just got to really make sure you twist it tight. I will dampen my fingers just a little bit. All right, so we're just going to kind of clean up the back of the fly, if you will, with this dubbing. All right, so we're going to get right about to the hook point. And now I've got a piece of 2mm foam that I've actually punched out with a River Road Creations cutter for the Chernobyl cutter. You can use just a straight piece of foam and taper the ends a little bit to give it some body. That's certainly going to work fine. So you want it to extend just beyond the back of the hook. Can kind of fold it around a little bit. I'm going to come in and make 2 loose wraps of my tying thread, and then I'm going to cinch that tight. So it should look something like that. All right, next I've got a clump of that Widow's Web. You know, any type of poly wing material would work just fine here. Come in and tie that in. And I'm going to cut that off just back of the fly. And trim this front off a little bit. Now what I would typically do is put just a dab of super glue on those butt ends, but just to speed things up here a little bit, I'll just pass on that. So I'm going to add just a little bit more dubbing at this point. And all this dubbing here is going to do is widen out my tie-in point when I tie in my silicone legs. So I've taken a crazy leg, cut it in half, so I got 4 pieces. Should all be the same length. Tie one in right on that foam edge on the near side, and then do on the far side. So what I do is I double it over my tying thread, and then I'm just able to put it right in place. All right. So that's looking good. Now we're going to add a couple inches of dubbing and a dubbing noodle here. Again, just work with it, twist it tight. And I'm going to start between the legs, a couple wraps, get those spread out, make it all look nice and pretty. And I'm going to pull it back and then start working my way, pull the foam back and then start working my way forward, adding more dubbing as I need it. All right. We're going to work our way all the ways up to the eye here. I'll just add a touch more. Smooth that out just a little bit. And with dubbing, as I've mentioned before, it's easier to add than take it off, so just work your way with that. Okay, so now here, I'm going to make, again, 2 loose wraps with my tying thread. I'm going to fold it over, and then I'll cinch that tight. A couple more wraps. Now I'm going to come underneath around the bare hook and then come back. Take that clump of widow's web, tie that in right there. A couple good wraps. Again, I would hit that with some super glue. Trim that off so it's even with the back wing. Put that off in the front. I'm going to add just a little bit more dubbing, just like we did back part of the fly, just to give a little bit wider space when we tie those legs in. It helps keep the legs splayed out a little bit more. Otherwise, with the thread tension, they just pull together. All right, so I got 2 more silicone legs. Same process, just, I don't know if you can see that on the video. There you can. Drape it over the tying thread, and then I'm able to just roll it right into place. Get on the far side. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take that foam and fold it back and form a little head that way. So again, a couple of loose wraps. And I'm going to come underneath. We can see that. And now I'm going to actually do some half hitches. You can certainly do a regular whip finish if you are good enough to get it between those legs there. And then the last thing is just going to come in here and clean off that head a little bit. So there it is. Chubby Chernobyl. Got a little bit of that hackle, or excuse me, the dubbing gets a little bit wild, so just kind of trim some of that off of there if you want. It certainly isn't going to matter. The fish aren't going to care. So again, a tremendous fly. Fish it all summer, especially if you want to take instead of using an indicator, you can use this and then put a nymph underneath it. It's going to float any nymph that you have, basically. So hope you enjoy it. Thank you.